So which question?
Number 4.
Okay. So, your innovations. One of the beauties of AI is that it can be adapted and reimagined depending on the needs of the situation in which it is being applied. Have you had an opportunity to create innovations to the original 4D process? What did your innovations look like? How have you used them? And please share an example of your innovations using AI.
Okay. I am a consultant, and I was working with a large client who had a reorganization, a major reorganization, and they had been focusing on restructuring, but had not yet had the community of employees and groups embrace their new roles. So they'd split groups up, they'd move groups around, and so at the same time there was a lot of deficit-based thinking and talking going on. People were afraid, as they are normally after a reorg, and there was a lot of concerned people. People had not yet absorbed their roles or their direction. And so what I did was looking at appreciative inquiry and thought, okay, we have a deficit-based thinking model going on, and so I thought, let's weave strengths in, and let's weave appreciative inquiry, and then let's also weave a place in for the leaders to give their new message, because they had not really heard in a concise way from top down. So because of scheduling, we had 2 different groups, one about 180 people, another one about, I think, about 100 people, and so we did 2 different days. And so we started with the Strengths Finder, which is pretty simple. So we literally got books for everybody. We got all the strengths results came to me, and that's how we facilitated. So we started with a bit of why are we doing this, and we started then with the strengths, and we had people get to their tables and talk about how they use their strengths and how they could, what shows up in a strength for them and what shows up in a shadow side for them, and then talked about how they use them at work. And then we wove into the SOAR model, which is strengths, opportunities, aspirations, and results. It's a much more positive way than of a strategic planning than a SWOT model, and really got people down to strong results. So they had talked about their own strengths, but then we broke them into their teams, and then they talked about what are the strengths we have as a team, and then what are our opportunities, and what are our aspirations, and what are our results. And so we really went, it was almost like an inverted pyramid through the day, and it was a full day. It was 8 till 5, and each group presented at each function, at each junction. And so what they ended up with at the end of the day was each group had their results that they wanted to work on. So they walked away with their strengths, they walked away with how they wanted to approach their challenges. They knew more about what their challenges were, but also what their opportunities were, and then they literally had nailed it down to 2 or 3 results that they wanted to have. So it was really successful. We also added in the information from the leadership, so that also was from a strengths-based perspective, and I'd coached them on that. So less than looking at, rather than looking at it as these are the problems, it was this is why we did this, and these are the strengths of the organization. So the whole day was strength-based, and it turned out really positively.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.